to Cooking with Miss O. I want to welcome you here today, and something that I've had a lot of requests for is cereal, because cereal is made at the factory with all the stuff, even though it's organic, as I've taught y'all, that, and if you haven't known this yet, that in 72 hours after you grind the wheat or the oats, it is dead food. So I teach dead foods, live foods. Today I'm going to teach you how to make your own cereal, and you can do your own variations. I'm just going to show you how I do it. Now, a lot of you who have been watching the show know that this is the base to my bosh. So I have 3 things that I do with all my bread making and my cereal and my food and stuff. I have a bosh, and I have my grinder over here, which grinds my food. Now I'm going to teach you how to flake for your cereal. The cord in the bosh is wonderful here. It just slides in. So you do, the first bosh I had didn't have all these things, and you can just push that cord in so you don't have any trouble. You stand it on the side because this is how you turn it on. And let me see here, let me plug this in. I should have had it plugged in for you. And I am going to put this together. This is where I'm going to put the oats, and then this is where it flakes it. Now the flakes are a little bit different than what you have in the regular grocery store. And then I need a smaller bowl for that, or a plate. Let's see here. I think we'll just do this. That is just perfect. Now, I put this up here, and then it grinds it. It flakes it. We're going to do 4 cups. And these are my oat groats. They're called oat groats. They're a little bit bigger than the wheat berry, and they're lighter colored, and they're thinner. Now, as long as it's an oat or a wheat berry or anything like that, it's alive forever. They do not know how long. They have never found out that the nutrition has ever, when they open it up, it's always the same. They brought some from the tombs, the oats and the berries, and when they opened them up in the 50s, and they brought some over to the United States, and in the United States, where we have wheat Montana, which is the best wheat in all of the world. I think Israel is next, and then Russia. Montana, not all of the United States, but Montana. Well, anyway, they found that when they opened this by grinding it, either one, the wheat or the oats, that it had the same nutrition, even though those were in the tombs, and they compared it. It was amazing. Now, we're going to do this, and here we have our flakes. Let me just show you on the camera. This is a smaller flake that you get in the grocery store, but it has all the nutrition which the grocery store does not have. While that is going on, we're going to go ahead and cut to a commercial.
The sun is slowly rising across the hills of Caroline. I feel something in the air, a new song.
Welcome back, y'all. Now we have our cereal. This is our flakes. It's smaller than what you get in the grocery store. Now we're going to do all of our wet ingredients first. I use the olive oil, and I've always told y'all, look here, that you need to put your olive oil in first because your honey won't come out. And so I need 1/2 cup. And I do it in a little bit bigger. I do it in a cup one because of my honey, and that way it will come out. I'm doing the oil so all the sides have oil on it, okay? Now, That is a 1/2 cup of olive oil, and we're going to do a 1/2 cup of honey. When I do the honey in the 1/2 cup and the olive oil, it will stick more that way. There we go. Let me get a paper towel here. So I've learned that if I put a 1/2 cup of honey in a cup and I have the oil, then it will come out much easier, because then the oil is all the way up to where it would come out. See how easy this pours out? And that way I don't lose any of the honey, because honey has gotten expensive. I do raw honey. I do it with Be Well honey. That's the one that first time I ever had it, and it was in 6 Mile at his house when my daughter was so sick, and we would just go there and pick up our honey. And now he has a store in Pickens, and because he's gotten so popular, and I just love his honey. And it is the wildflower one. He has different flavors, so some of you who might be allergic to wildflower, he has other honeys for that too. Now we're going to do the vanilla. If you don't like vanilla, you can do other flavorings if you want. You can do almond if you're doing with almonds. I like the walnuts with the vanilla, and I do the Simply Organics from Ingles. And when I do the almonds, sometimes I mix the vanilla and the almond flavoring, and it gives it a really good taste. Instead of just so almondy, and with the almonds and with that. And then I also do the vanilla with the pecans when I do a pecan granola. Now in all my granolas I put the coconut, and this is at Ingles. This is the only place I've been able to find it, and it's organic. And I leave all these in my freezer. Then they don't get rancid. Once I open a bag like this, these seal back, they're fine. But something like this and this, I have to put it in a plastic bag and put it in the side of my freezer. So we're going to do walnuts today, because walnuts is my favorite. Now we're going to have a teaspoon of vanilla. And then we're going to put the walnuts in, and have a 1/2 cup of walnuts. I have a 1/2 cup of the coconut. We're going to put that in here. I really like this because when you have kids cooking with you, and I have a glass bowl and stuff, sometimes things happen. And so it's really nice. And this is by Tupperware. And then this is by Pampered Chef. You can do this to do meat, chop up chicken salad after you've cooked the chicken. It cuts with it, but it also is real good here. It also will do my nuts, so I didn't have to have a nut chopper. I just go around like that, and it does my almonds too. So it saves me on tools. Let me get all the big pieces here. I put the walnuts in before I do the oats, because that helps it to chop easier. I've tried it both ways, and I just do the liquids first and then the coconut and the nuts. This is called the chopper from Pampered Chef. I do one thing with this. I have two. One for my meats and one for anything else. But now this one, if it's cooked chicken, I would do it with chicken. But any raw meat I do, I have a different one for that. Okay, here we go. Now, we're going to do 2 cups of the oats first. I have gotten the new Tupperware ones, and they're the best of all, because most of the measuring spoons and measuring cups, the stuff comes off. And they've got it indented into the plastic, so it never rubs off and you have to wonder what it is. Do 2 cups at a time, because that makes it easier to blend. Now, And this recipe is in my cookbook. It's in the basics in the back, where I teach you about the broth and the breadcrumbs. The granola's in here. Now, with this granola, if you go to the snack time, you can make a granola bar from this recipe. Now, the pan I'm going to use is a Pampered Chef pan. It has these sides that are really wonderful. It's called a bar pan. On a regular cookie sheet, I had problems with it because it didn't cook right and it would fall over and stuff like that. So here it keeps it all right in here, and this has been the best pan I could have for it not to burn, because granola can burn very easily. Now, depending on how liquidy you want, I mean, it's not really liquidy, let me show you. On this recipe that I have for 4, if you like it with more flavor, I would only do 3 cups. And if you like it a drier cereal, you can do the 4 cups that I have in the recipe. Accidentally, after I did the cookbook, I only put in 3 cups, and it was actually, I thought it was better, but then one of my kids, one of my children, thought it needed to be drier. So this time I'm going to do with just 3. It's also easier to mix it up with the 3. So put in your cookbook, if you've got one, put 3 or 4 cups of the flakes, the oat flakes. Now, around here, to get oats, you can go to Hochstetler's in right outside Clemson. It's a Mennonite place. That's where I get my wheat berries. There's also other places in Greenville and all, but make sure you get Wheat Montana's oats and Wheat Montana wheat berries. That is the best one in the country. And it's been around since the 1800s. Okay. There, we're going to stop there. And we are going to put this in this pan. Okay, we don't need much oil on this pan at all. Not as much as you do on the metal pans. I just take a paper towel if you have kids in your house. You can do wax paper or a paper towel to push it around. I like with this pan to do the paper towel because it soaks up some of it, and I can grease it down and it's not sitting in the oil. Compared to grocery store cereal that's organic, and my oats are organic, my oat groats, it's 1/4 of the price of store-bought cereal, and it's not a dead food. So now I'm going to do this with this. And kids can make this because there's no raw meat, there's no eggs. This is one of the things I would start off your kids cooking with, and they could start making the family cereal. And that's why I use the plastic one with kids. See how easy now? I don't flatten it. I don't put it so that it's all down. I'm just spreading it out and keeping it so it'll turn into chunks of cereal. Because if you eat the granola in the grocery store, you know it has some big chunks and little chunks, and you want that. There. Now this will give you your kids nutrition. Here we go. All right. Now, we've already got the oven preheated for 350, and it's going to cook for 20 minutes. We're going to go to a break. Thanks so much, y'all.
That speak the truth, Lord, give us the strength to share the living life, a new day to get it right. Open the window of your heart.
Welcome back, y'all. Now our cereal is done. It's still real warm, so while it's warm like this, don't touch the sides because it's hot, and it will be a little bit soft, like I told you, but it will get crunchy as it dries out. And while it's hot like this, I guess it's been about 10 minutes out of the oven. So you want to take this and stir the sides into it because the middle is not as dark as the sides. So that's how you get your crunch in there. You don't want to get it too dark. This is just perfect. I've gotten it too dark before. It still tastes good, but you like it this better. So go ahead while it's still soft and hot and do this with it, because then you can put it right into your cereal keeper by Tupperware. Tupperware does not have the bad plastic. The stuff you buy in the grocery stores and all does, unless it says on there PB free. This has been like that for a long time, and I don't have any problems with bugs or anything, even though I have no preservatives on any of this or any chemicals on it. This came just the way, we're making food just the way God said in the Bible. He said that your bread should be your daily bread, and Jesus is compared to the bread. And that's because he knew that the nutrition of the wheat berry and the oat groats and all doesn't last very long. So all of the benefits that they tell you in the store for oats and walnuts and these nuts, for the grains, it's not true. Oats lower cholesterol. It really does. It does a beautiful job. But it's only in the 72 hours after the oat groat has been opened. And with the wheat berry too. That's why Jesus is compared to the bread of life, because he has everything we need. Well, the wheat berry is compared to that in the Bible because it has everything we need. The minerals, the vitamins, the protein, and the enzymes the human body needs. But in the 72 hours, it's dead. So all it is a dead food. And that's why we have so much cancer. When you do the oats this way, cholesterol is one of the things that it really helps battle, but also it battles breast cancer too and other cancers. Now with the walnuts we put in here, the walnuts are brain food, and it has double the antioxidants of any other nut. It also has the good fats, and so it's excellent. So that's why I use it the most. Almonds are excellent, pecans are excellent. Pecans is at the end. It's the third one. Okay, now we've got this. It's still too warm, so we won't put it in here. And then for the 3 days, that's why you don't want to make batches of this. You just want it to last about 3 days, all right? Now, what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you how to have a wonderful breakfast or a late night snack. If you eat walnuts before you go to bed at night, the serotonin that you have, you sleep better. So eat a few walnuts before you go to bed. And do it with this granola, okay? You can add some extra walnuts on it. I'm going to do a cereal right now for you. And this is what I do. Okay, there we go. Then I take me a fresh apple. Try to get organic apples. I get my apples at Ingles. They're the best place for the apples. Then I take this Pampered Chef tool that is sometimes hard for me, but probably easy for y'all. And then I put my apples. I eat my apple with it. Then let me go over to the refrigerator, and I'm going to get my milk and all of my yogurt. I use this with yogurt. So at night, I use this as a snack, and for breakfast, I use it that has protein in it. I mix my Greek yogurt with my regular vanilla flavor because I don't really like the taste of the plain Greek, and I've heard that from a lot of people. So if you do half and half, You get more protein that way and more nutrition that way, and then you still have a good taste. So I mix that with that instead of milk sometimes if you can't do milk. And if you can do milk, I do this milk. And I get all of this at Ingles. So it is wonderful to eat. And I right now will put a spoon of yogurt here on it. And then I just stir it up. And so if you don't want to drink any milk, you can do it with yogurt. This is a great snack too. After you've made the granola, take some of your whole almonds and your walnuts and your pecans, and you can just toss it in a bag with you and take it as a snack. I chop this up pretty fine for little kids like I did here, and do that, and then you can just put apple with it. And it's a great snack. It's great before you go to bed because it will help you sleep better. And you'll have protein in the night. A lot of times the reason why we don't sleep good at night is because we don't have enough protein. We've eaten dinner maybe at 5 o'clock, and that's our protein, and we go to bed about 10 o'clock, and our body needs that protein so that we can sleep. I just want to thank you for being here today. Hope you tried this. It's in my cookbook. And if you do not have my cookbook, you can get it at marybestkitchen@gmail.com. Thank you so much. Happy eating.
To get it right, open the windows of your heart and let His God give you